Start and Succeed show. For those of you that haven't listened to an episode of this podcast before, my name is Kelly Brammer. I'm your host, and I'm here every single week talking to you about business, leadership, and that all important mindset. Now, the reason that I do that is I want to help you to find your purpose, to find your passion, so that you can step into your own power with purpose and with intent, so that you can be confident in leading a life that really aligns with you, and so that you can build a business that not only serves you, but serves so many others too. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't here last week. I was ill, thankfully not COVID, but I was ill, so apologies. I didn't put an episode live, and I'm just being honest. But as I say, I'm back, I'm better, and today I've got a really interesting question for you that I want you to think about, to ponder upon, and then to decide whether or not you should change something in order to up-level and to move forward effectively, be it in life or in business or in both. So, the question, I guess, that I have for you is, if there is one thing, just one thing that you could change in your life or in your business, what would it be? And then once you have that answer, why would you change it? What benefit would it give you? What impact would it have? And what would it save you, if anything? Now, the reason that I want to talk to you about this is recently I've been talking to a client who started a business about 18 months ago now, and has had some really, really good successes in that time. Has really gone from strength to strength, really built a good customer base around his brand. And at the moment, because things have kind of slowed down for him, because he's continually moved forward and moved forward and moved forward during that past 12, 18 months, he is now in a position that he's comfortable, that he's questioning what he needs to do differently. But the question I've asked him, and it's a question that, again, I've now asked you, is it's not necessarily about what you would do differently that's new, but what would you do that's differently that you're doing today? What would you change if you could? And it didn't matter how much money it cost. It didn't matter how many skills you would need to do it. It doesn't matter who you would need to help you. Just what would that one thing be that you would change? Because it's not always about doing something brand new. It's about adapting and changing something that you're already doing in your life or in your business that can really help propel you forward. Now, I guess I've reflected on that too. And that's the purpose of me doing this podcast episode today and the topic that's come up. And sorry, it's really cold in Brisbane today, so I've got my little wrap on. But yeah, so I've reflected on that myself. And you know, there's a few things that I would change in my business, and I'll share that with you. But I want you to think about it for yourself. Now, the client I've been working with, we did a really good session just reflecting on some of those successes that he's had, thinking about where he wants to go over the next 6 to 12 months, and then thinking about the things that really hold him back. Things that he does every single day. So he's a one-person business. He doesn't have anybody else help him. So there are a lot of things and a lot of hats that he's having to wear each and every day in order to operate his business. So rather than add something new into the mix, I've asked him to think about what he would change. So we did this whole session. We talked through a number of ideas. And the one thing for him, and he wouldn't mind me sharing this, is he actually wants to change how much time he spends marketing his business. Now, because it's a brand new business, relatively new, he spends a lot of time on social media. He spends a lot of time in person at networking events, but that doesn't really give him the time that he needs to work on the business himself. So he's either in it or he's marketing it, but he's not looking at all the other things, all of the revenue opportunities that he has, all of the current customer base that he has, and nurturing them more and taking them on a journey, because he's constantly having to try and market business. So we've spoken about options for him in terms of what he could do differently. So if the financial situation for him allows it, he could go out, he could get somebody to help him with social media. On the flip side of that, if the financial position isn't where it should be or needs to be, and he doesn't have the money to bring somebody on board to help him with that, what could he change that he's currently doing to help him? So we've spoken about some ideas. So automating more internally, scheduling posts, only attending networking events every so often. So it's not that he's going to stop doing things. He's just going to become smarter at doing them. And in some respects, either ease off or stop doing them completely. Now, as I say, this has given me time to reflect and given me time to think about what would I actually change in my business. Now, I've reflected a lot on this question, and I guess the one thing that I would change, probably more than anything, is I would stop procrastinating. I do it a lot, a hell of a lot, and I'm just being honest. So I time box everything. I have a timer on my laptop that splits everything down for me. So as I'm doing things, I'll make sure I try and time box them as much as I can, but I don't always succeed. And I guess it's not always about succeeding. You have to fail. So fail, learn from it, and then adapt going forward so that, again, you can start to see successes from those actions, or you change those actions to see different results. So for me, I would stop procrastinating so much. I would change that. I would make sure that I'm very clear on what I need to do, and if I find myself dipping into that procrastination cycle, I would do something to get me out of it. Now, I know that's not a quick fix, but I know if I can do that, I can get so much more done and I can save so much more time. I guess the other thing that I've realised is that I should probably get a VA. So again, I'm quite a control freak. I like to do things myself, but it does mean that I don't necessarily get the time to dedicate to the things that I should be dedicating to, because I'm splitting that with some admin things, bookkeeping, etc., etc. So that's me. That's where I'm at. But I want to ask you, have to think about it. What would you change? If you could change anything at all in your life, in your business, what would it be? Now, you might find that there are a number of things that you wish you could do differently. You may find that you think everything's going fine, so therefore you wouldn't change anything. But it comes back to an episode I put out a few weeks ago. If we don't change, we don't evolve. If we don't evolve, we don't become better versions of ourselves. We don't upscale our offering to our customers and to our clients. We don't continue to develop. Change is essential. But ask yourself, what would that change be for you? And it might not be something that off the top of your head you can think of. You might need to do some work on understanding what that change looks like for you, and what benefits and what impacts that would have if you were to do it. But it's a really interesting question because, as I say, we often get up, we do the things that we just do to make sure that we get ourselves ready for the day, to start work, to see people, to talk to our friends and family, whatever it is that you're doing in the day. We just do it. And we don't really think about why we're doing something and whether or not it actually aligns with us or whether or not we should change it for the better. Now, that's my question today. As I say, I guess it's an important thing, especially with so much more information being seen every day. So we're piled with information daily, like hourly, every single minute. Every time I open a new tab on my laptop, there's some news article that pops up. I don't know why, I wish I could stop it. And I should probably get somebody to help me with that too. But there's always something. There's social posts. So when you go to post on social media, obviously you want to engage with people. So you're scrolling through, you're looking at other people's posts, you're commenting on it, etc., etc. You read newspapers. There's podcasts, even the radio, the television. Literally everywhere you look, there's new information that's going in. So it's more things that are occupying your mind and sometimes taking you away from what you should be doing. So that's my question to you today. If you could change one thing in your life or in your business, what would it be? And once you've figured that out, why would you do that? Why is it important that you would change it? What benefit would it give you? What impact would it have? And then lastly, I want you to think about, okay, if you've decided a change needs to happen, which, as I say, change is good, change isn't bad, we have to change to evolve, but what steps could you take today to make that change happen? Now, thank you for listening to me today. As I say, will be back next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking to you about goal setting. So we've just entered a new financial year here in Australia. But to be honest, it's time for us to start looking at regular cycles for goal setting anyway. Just doing it once a year, once every 6 months just doesn't necessarily work for a lot of businesses and a lot of people. And you don't want to forget what those goals are because you want to keep working on them. Now, as I say, next week I'm going to be talking to you about goal setting. I've got some exciting news around that. Now, over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks, I may have a big birthday coming up. I'm not going to share how old I am, but I have a big birthday showing up and I'm going to be offering you something really exciting as a birthday gift from me. So next week, tune in. I'll talk to you all about goal setting and why it's important that you do that regularly and that you work towards it, and some really important tips that can help you to do that easier, to actually achieve things more effectively. So have a great day, whatever it is that you're doing, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.